everyone, my name is Julie Widholm. I'm a wildlife biologist with the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, I'm filming this in my house in Madison, and that was just my dog Barley hanging out as well. I've been working from home for I think the past 300, 400 days. I got no idea what day it is. For those of you that do know what day it is, because you've been working this whole time, thank you so much for what you do. Big thanks to Dane County Parks for allowing me to connect with you today on Conservation Corner, and I'm going to be talking about turkeys. A little bit about me first and what I do for the DNR. I grew up in New Hampshire, shout out Granite State. I always loved being outside, playing in the woods, playing in the river behind my house. So got into the outdoors and wildlife management early in my life and loved my time here in Wisconsin. I've been here about 15 years, really adjusted to your lifestyle well, I think. Love cheese, beer, brats, and then being outside like a lot of you guys do as well. So for the DNR, I work for the wildlife management program, and what that means is a lot of my job is habitat management. So I cover the wildlife areas that are owned by the DNR in Dane County. If you guys are familiar with Goose Lake, Hook Lake, Brooklyn Wildlife Area, those are all places I help manage. Another part of my job is helping with huntable species, so doing wildlife surveys, helping with hunting seasons, and things of that nature. So those mainly revolve around deer, pheasants, and turkeys, which I'll be talking about today. Again, I'm going to be covering why turkeys are super cool, a little bit about turkey habitat and ecology, and then just closing out with some information about the state's turkey stamp program. So just to start with some basics, one thing I really like about turkeys is they're super funny looking. So you know, they have the bald heads, big bodies, spend most of the time on the ground. So they do look pretty funny, and one thing I like is their anatomy names are very similar, also very funny. So besides being a wildlife biologist, also dabble a little bit in wildlife art. So I drew a nice picture for us to learn about turkey anatomy together. So here you go. You can tell this is a male turkey. It has the turkey fan out here, his tail feathers. He's got the spurs on his legs. He's got the pronounced wattle and crunkles. Females also have a wattle, but not quite so pronounced as the males. Also, he has the beard, which is made up of feathers. It's kind of a modified feather structure. Sometimes females will have those as well, but more typical of the males. And then I think my favorite term is the snood. So the snood is that fleshy protuberance that comes down over their beak. Females and males have this as well, but the males a little more pronounced there. So you might be able to tell from my drawing that turkeys are a brown and black color, but their feathers also have iridescence. So when the sun hits it, they get that really cool shimmer or blue-green look to their feathers, I think I would call it. So I like that a lot about them too. Really pretty to look at, actually, if you can get over their weird head. Other turkey basics, male turkeys, we call them gobblers or toms. The young males are called jakes. The females are known as hens, and then the baby turkeys are called poults. Male turkeys are usually average about 20 pounds. We have seen some bigger ones of the males, but 20 pounds is the average. The females are about 8 to 11 pounds, a little bit smaller than the males. Turkey's diet is highly variable, so they'll pretty much eat anything they can find, anything they can fit in their mouth, which I, for one, can get on board with. They like nuts and seeds. Acorns are a favorite during the summertime. They really feed a lot on insects, so grasshoppers are a big time favorite. Caterpillars, things like that. Berries, grasses, forbs. Occasionally they'll try to get into small snakes or frogs, again, just whatever they can get their hands on or their beaks on, so to speak, in their mouth. So yeah, I think a lot of us can relate to that. So another fun turkey fact. Okay, so we know what turkeys eat, but where do they live? Turkeys are generalists, but there's a couple key items that they find beneficial in their habitat. So they roost or sleep at night in trees, so trees are important to them. Also nesting cover and rearing habitat. A lot of times we find them associated with grasslands or woodland openings, so they nest on the ground. And they want that nesting cover. As a side note, another reason to leash our dogs during the spring, because turkeys are nesting on the ground and we don't want our dogs to disturb them. And then of course, turkeys need a food source, so not super picky about that, as we learned before, but places where they can find acorns, insects, or spent grain in our agricultural lands. So what they really like is that forested tree grass open area complex. A lot of times when we talk about turkey habitat, we do talk about oak savannas, so oak trees for food source as well as roosting habitat, and then some component that's open with grassland and the insects associated with that, as well as providing habitat for nesting and broods. Of course, that all sounds beautiful, but we know that they also are found in Madison, so yep, they've learned how to adapt to living with us in the urban landscape as well. So props to them for that. We pretty much have all they need. Trees for them to nest in, open grasslands with lawns, insects, we sure have those. So yeah, they do live with us as well. Just a side note on nuisance turkeys, I know they can get aggressive in the spring and sometimes cause some problems. One thing to think about is cleaning up your bird feeder. So if they're hanging out under your bird feeder, eating seeds and stuff that's fallen down, if you can take those down for a couple weeks, clean that area up, and try to just get the turkeys to form new habits where they're not defending their territory around your yard or your bird feeders. Hopefully that can help. So just to quickly go over a year in the life of a turkey. Springtime is breeding season. Hopefully we've all seen that iconic male turkey strut where they're all puffed up and have their tail feathers out. That looks super cool. Who doesn't like a guy that can dance? So that's great. The females will nest again on the ground. Usually they lay about 10 eggs. We start to see baby turkeys or poults around June. They're really smart right out of the gate. They can forage on their own. They start to fly after a week, and then they're nesting in trees within 2 weeks. Really spend the summer eating a lot of insects, getting their protein levels up. And then in the fall, they start to flock up. They have kind of an interesting social structure, start to establish dominance in those flocks going into fall and into winter. Yeah, so like a lot of birds we see flock up in the fall, they're heading south, but the turkeys stick it out with us through the winter. So again, what's not to like about them? They kind of scratch through the snow and try to still eat the grains, seeds, acorns, stuff like that, whatever they can get to through the snow. But yeah, they stick it out with us, and I appreciate that for sure. And then that brings us back to spring. All right, now that we know everything there is about what turkeys eat and where they live, I want to talk about turkey hunting and turkey stamp projects. So we're currently in turkey hunting season here in Wisconsin. And hunters are an important part of the turkey success story here in Wisconsin. Brief history of turkeys in Wisconsin. The last recorded turkey was spotted in Lafayette County in 1881. Then after that, turkeys were considered extirpated from the state. There was a couple attempts early on to reintroduce them, but the one that stuck happened in the 1970s. So in 1976, Wisconsin traded Missouri grouse for turkeys. It was 3 Wisconsin grouse to 1 turkey. I always love those exchange rates. We got about 50 turkeys. They were relocated to Vernon County. Then the Wisconsin DNR used that flock, and when it grew, they would take turkeys from that flock and relocate them within Wisconsin, including spots in Dane County. So that kind of helped the flock grow and expand across Wisconsin in a sped up fashion. So it was a great success. We now have turkeys in every single county in Wisconsin. And that reintroduction effort was funded by the Pittman-Robertson Fund. So that is a tax on firearms and ammo, and then also through a partnership with the National Wild Turkey Federation, which is largely made up of hunters as well. So a really important piece to the reason turkeys are here are thanks to hunter dollars. And currently we have the Wisconsin turkey stamp. So when hunters buy license and tags to hunt turkeys, they also have to buy a stamp. The stamp is $5.25, and it provides a ton of funding for turkeys and their habitats. So the allocation of funds started in 1996. A total of $17 million statewide has gone to turkey projects. This money goes to things like seed collection, prairie seed collection, and establishing prairies and grassland, invasive species control, equipment purchases, research and education. Our prescribed burn program a lot of times gets funding through the turkey stamp as well. Some things to think about if you're not a hunter and you're recreating on wildlife areas. A lot of the fire breaks that we mow are used as hiking trails, and those are brought to you, could be brought to you in part by turkey stamp funding. Both the DNR and its partners, so partners like Dane County Parks, are eligible for money to help improve turkey habitat. So just in recent history, just looking at the past 5 years in Dane County, the DNR and its partners have received $286,000, and it's impacted about 10,000 acres just here in Dane County. So this is really, really important funding source for habitat managers like me and our partners at Dane County Parks to help kind of grassland and savanna habitats. And of course these habitats benefit other species, bluebirds, whippoorwills, red-headed woodpeckers, and our friends the deer as well. So if you're a hunter, a hiker, a bird watcher, just lover of the outdoors, and of course turkeys and their really odd heads, this funding source is very important for us. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you can get out and enjoy turkeys in their habitats sometime soon. Take care, and thank you very much.